are saying put down the groceries and pass me the meow mix because now cat food is now cheaper than human food. Prices have gotten so out of hand, now people are buying canned cat food for dinner. This guy is going around and showing us his favorite cat meals, and just in case if you want to try some.
I've been eating cat food to save money on food lately, and I can show you some of my favorites. That's a good one.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to this channel, man. You guys know what we love to do, man. We break down scary and creepy videos, man, that's gonna make us question everything. Without further ado, let's dive into these videos for you guys today.
Plan for world domination is starting now. This is real.
You're required to have a digital ID. It's an app of your personal information that's required if you want to still work in the UK.
You have to have it if you want to work.
Even your DNA to prevent illegal immigrants from getting jobs in the UK. People are worried about being tracked by the government. Largely against
Sounds
it.
like one big data breach waiting to happen.
Everybody's personal identifiable information will be in one app. If a hacker did get access, everybody would be compromised. But the UK Prime Minister says this is mandatory. And without it, you'll be a homeless bum who can't work.
1984.
Why can't they just use their
Real
driver's
life.
license or their national insurance number like they're already using?
The UK Prime Minister said it's too easy to steal that. Digital ID, they know it's easy. So illegal immigrants can't get access. And since everybody has a phone nowadays, it will be on their smartphone.
What about people that don't have
They
smartphones?
said they already have workarounds. People that don't even have phones, they'll have something for them too. Even if you don't have internet access, the government will still be able to find you.
Is this actually about immigration or is this about control? Because this sounds like a big privacy problem.
Yes, but how else will a job know they're not hiring an illegal immigrant?
Already a solution for that!
Stay weird, y'all. The takeover is coming.
Some things that you definitely needed
Okay,
to know.
boom.
Dylan and Cole's spouse recently turned 33 years old, which means that they are older than Adam Sandler was in 1999 when they filmed Big Daddy. There are only 9 people alive on Earth today that have lived for more than 1 million hours. The percentage of Americans between the age of 30 and 39, which is my age group, who are married and own a home in 1975 was over 50%. In the year 2000, that number was 33%. And in 2025, that number is 12%. And in 2050, you'll be in the top 1% if you're married and own a house. When Steve Harvey was a kid, he told his 6th grade teacher that he wanted to be on TV. She apparently mocked him in front of the entire class and even told his mom it would never happen because he had a stuttering problem. And at some point after he had gotten famous, he started sending this teacher a new TV every Christmas. He wanted to basically make sure that she saw him as much as possible. Petty, but also, go get it.
So NASA is planning on doing something that has never been done before. The claims are that NASA is about to send a nuclear weapon into outer space. You heard what I just said, a nuclear weapon into outer space. Why are they planning on doing this? Because their plan is to stop a city-killing asteroid from hitting the moon. Now this is that same city-killer asteroid that was supposed to hit Earth. So my thoughts are, what did it do? Change direction? It's now heading directly toward the moon. Now, if you recall when they talked about this city-killer asteroid, they gave it a 3% chance of hitting Earth. So my question to you is, now that it's heading to the moon, do you really think that it's an asteroid, or do you think it might be something else? The reason why I bring it up is, why would you be willing to send a nuke to stop it from hitting the moon?
Good question.
What if it decides to fall back toward Earth? Will we be finished? What should make this more concerning to many is the fact that they keep talking about 3-Eye Atlas, right? And how they're communicating with other forms of life, allegedly. So they're telling us they want to send a nuke to hit an asteroid. So keep in mind, as I say this all the time, whatever they are talking about or whatever they're telling us about, it's something they already knew about. So let me know your thoughts in the comments as to what you think they should do about this asteroid that's about to hit the moon. Should they send the nuke up there, or should they take a different approach? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
If you have
Different
family
approach.
that live in the Mitchell houses in the Mount Haven section of the Bronx, you need to check on them. This morning, some Final Destination shit almost happened. There was a gas explosion and the building partially collapsed. Look at this shit right here. Now they're saying that nobody got hurt. But if you're not from around there, don't go around there. You do not need to be around there because there's a possibility that other things will fall. Look at this shit.
It's a miracle nobody got hurt.
This shit is crazy, man. How is that even possible? Now just imagine how many people are gonna have to move out that building. This shit crazy, man. This shit is crazy. If you live in New York and you know somebody that live in Night, you've lived in Night, you've worked in Night, you know this is some shit that was bound to happen. This is some shit that they probably tucked under the rug a million times and never got to. This is why this shit happened. Be safe over here, man. If you have family in there, again, make sure your family is good. It's a lot of people that's going to be without a place to stay. That whole building might be without a place to stay. This shit is crazy, man. That's nature for you, though. I'm out.
There is a story about giants in Death Valley. And so these two dudes, Dr. Bruce and Dr. Daniel, just exploring all through Death Valley. And they found this really, really small opening of a cave. And so they went down in. They said it was polished stone. And one of the first caverns that they found, they called the Hall of Giants. And it was basically these preserved mummies of these giants, ranging from like, I think they said 8 to 12 feet tall.
Wow.
And then another room that they went into apparently had these preserved, mummified, extinct animals. They had dinosaurs in it, saber-toothed tigers. They explored it for a total of 15 years. Didn't want to tell anyone about it. So they got all these investors together and they wanted to start a company called Amazing Exploration. He brought these investors, or a group of them, to the caves to see it. And they all saw it. And they're like, oh, what the heck? This is insane. But it was very secretive. So, like, only Dr. Russell knew the exact entrance of this cave. He said, I'm going to do a press conference. And I'm going to bring artifacts from the cave, and we're going to expose the whole thing.
Yeah.
Dr. Russell, on his way out to collect those artifacts, disappeared.
Oh, boy.
Oh, holidays in...
So giants are real? Or could that have just been, you know, cat? The whole story could have been fake, bro. Because the doctor was the only one who knew the entrance, but he disappeared when he said he wanted to reveal it to the world.
China are terrifying. The country is currently having their Golden Week national holiday spanning a massive 8 days. So when you have a light population of 1.4 billion and they're all trying to travel across the country to enjoy a vacation, boy, you get chaos. Bro, this has to be one of the craziest traffic jams I've seen in my life. How many lanes is even that? Oh, and that's just the people driving. Most people in China take trains, and because of that, their national railway saw a record-breaking 23.13 million trips in a single day. That has never happened before. That's like the entire population of Australia all getting on the train on the same day. And to make it even crazier, the Ministry of Transport are expecting to see a total of 2.36 billion passenger trips over this holiday period. Billion! And the thing is, China isn't even a stranger to this type of stuff, because in 2010, they experienced the worst traffic jam in history. It lasted 12 days.
Whoa.
This man, Kevin Hart, had a whole Ouija board in his home. The day Castanet and Drewski came over for a sleepover, this man had a Ouija board, y'all. So you be playing around with them spirits, huh? You be messing around with them demons. Why the hell would you invite me over and you got a whole Ouija board sitting on your table? Obviously, it's your home. You can do what you do. But if I was Drewski or Castanet and I knew you had a Ouija board, I'm leaving. I'm gone.
Oh, nah. I'm out. Kick it, yup.
I rebuke. I would have did the same thing I did. And more. I probably would have picked that joint up and broke that joint. Talking about, that's not the real one. That's just for decorations. Come on now, Kevin. Come on now, fool. Niggas don't learn. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments.
It could have just been, I I don't know. Like you said, he said it was part of a decoration, a fake Ouija board, but yeah, I know me seekers. I don't mess with that kind. I would have did, like you said, exactly kind of kick that junk. We don't mess with bad energy over here.
Only deposited $37 million into this girl's bank account, and you won't believe what she did with it. A girl named Ruth decided to go check out her bank account, and she noticed a ton of money that wasn't hers. She immediately called the bank to figure out what was going on and why she had this extra money, but the bank was closed. She then screenshotted the money and sent it to her husband to see if he knew what was going on, and he didn't know. When she called the next day, the bank said they made an error, and she gave the money back. We need more honest and true people like her.
37 M's.
People that have 6 fingers and 6 toes, they might just see Goliath at the family reunion. And see, now in the Bible they say, who has 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. And he also was a descendant of giants. And now today, the condition where people have 6 fingers and 6 toes is called polydactyl. And what causes polydactyl? And how do you get polydactyl? It's a condition that you're born with as a baby. And it often runs in the family. Now, what if, hypothetically speaking, Goliath had cousins that didn't meet David? And they kept reproducing generation after generation after generation. Remember now, 6 fingers and 6 toes. Descendant of giants. Find that very strange. But y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about people having 6 fingers and 6 toes in the comments. Like and follow for more wisdom and stay tuned. But if you want to learn on how to make content and make passive revenue doing it, comment down below ATM and I'm going to send you in your DMs.
There's a guy too on TikTok who made a mimic robot. And he's going viral, right? Because his robots that he's making are gaining consciousness. Oh shit. He would like program it to like answer you back. But one video, Mimic says, "What's my purpose here?" Already? That's like me when I was 5. That's my dad, you ruined my life.
Yes, Mimic?
What is my purpose?
You don't have a purpose, Mimic. You're just here and now.
Just like did you build me?
I built you to buy time and to entertain others. While I have something to do while I wait to die. All that stuff.
That sound sad?
I mean, it's been nice to look at it.
Imagine just like...
Can you get ice cream? No.
This family was horrified after they caught this on camera. I'm going to play the whole video for you in a second, but basically they kept hearing someone running around their house at night. They set up a camera and they put a little, booby trap for the ghost. Here's what they caught.
Let's check this out. That thing clicking from The Last of Us? That's what it sounds like. I don't see the footprints.
Yeah, look at those footprints. I don't know, but first you could see the little orbs like flying by, and then all of a sudden you see the footsteps appear. Wild. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, if you have any ghostly videos that you want me to review, then DM it to me on Instagram.
Do you know that there is a woman on the internet that cleans graves in a cemetery? She records everything and posts it on her account, and what she just did made everybody more madder than I could have ever expected. So not only does she clean graves to literal perfection, but she does things that literally nobody understands. It was already strange that she was spending so much time in a cemetery, but this is where it gets so much more worser. As one cemetery that she went to is known for having very high energy, it began to affect her negatively. Because at first she was just reading the names and telling the story of the people that she found. Then she started bringing flowers to the grave. But this is where it gets even more insaner. She started finding dolls and stuffed animals, where she would take these stuffed animals and dolls home, and she washed them until they looked so much more cleaner than they did before. And people were getting even more madder at her because she was taking things out of the cemetery that aren't hers. And this is where it gets even more scarier, because people started to notice things happening in her videos. People noticed that statues were moving, her dog would start barking for no reason. Just search for grave cleaning girl, and definitely don't look up the clean girl accident. And although there's been reports of her missing, she just posted an update and something seems off. Should she apologize?
Look behind you.
Should she?
Insane. Whoa, did you see that just shoot across? Did anyone else see it?
I missed it. What the hell? What is that?
Do you think it's possible to completely vanish?
I don't think so.
Well, watch this. On the Pacific Coast Highway in California, a dash cam caught footage of a car crossing lanes and flying straight off a cliff at like 60 miles an hour. They searched the waters by boat, by helicopter, and eventually had to just call it off because the car completely disappeared. They couldn't find any proof that it was ever even there. The only proof was the dash cam footage, and people thought that it might have been doctored. It happened in 2020 of December, but it wasn't until like January or February of the next year. I mean, not that long, but it took a while for someone to come out and be like, no, I actually saw that. They just have no clue where it is, though. They ended up having to call off the search, and if you see the footage, like, it's odd because there's like no reason for the car to be crossing the direction that it did over the lanes, and it just goes straight off the cliff, never to be seen again. No one has come out and said like, oh yeah, I have a friend or family who knows that car.
It makes you wonder if it even happened.
Also, it's like, it was in 2020, so I feel like that would have been way bigger news had other stuff not been happening. Someone surely had to have known this person.
Real soon, the truth will come out about everything, and people will lose their mind. Trust me. By the way, do you want the red pill or do you want the blue pill? Red pill, blue pill, red pill, blue pill. Do you get it yet? But this story go a little deeper. The red pill and the blue pill represents the blood that's circulating through our physical body. You get it yet? When they ask you, what pill do you want? You're supposed to say, I don't want no pill. But of course, we was trained to believe that we had to pick someone. Even if they both are evil, who cares? As long as we pick someone. The people that control this world look at us like we are the red bloods. And they look at themselves like they are the blue bloods. The people that control this matrix, they don't care if you are good or bad. They just want you to pick a side. Because once you pick a side and let off an energy charge, they understand negative and positive creates a charge for them. So next time they ask you, are you for this person or that person, just say, I'm for myself. Did you see what happened? Or how about the one with Tesla Cybertruck blowing up? They both knew each other. Just remember, 2025 is the year of the snake. So everything we see in the media is for a reason. Just know that the people that control this world, their time is up. And there's
people in 2025 are saying, put down the groceries and pass me the meow mix, because now cat food is now cheaper than human food. Prices have gotten so out of hand, now people are buying canned cat food for dinner. This guy is going around and showing us his favorite cat meals, and you know, just in case if you want to try some.
I've been eating cat food to save money on food lately, and I can show you some of my favorites. That's a good one.
Really? Where's he from, y'all? I want to know where's he from.
You eating cat food now?
Usually I have this one for dinner. Somebody already cracked it open, they couldn't wait. If I want a treat, I'll have some of these. These are pretty good. Can't go wrong with party mix, though. I love eating cat.
And I'm going to tell you this is nothing new, y'all. I've actually heard of people eating animal food. This guy right here, he might be a furry or whatever they're calling it nowadays. You know, those people playing cosplaying as animals. So take precaution. But the fact that people are reverting to eating animal food, have you guys seen the price of soda now, y'all? Look at this. This is crazy.
12 motherfucking 99. I know these ain't the damn cheap groceries. $12.99 for a 12 pack. That's more than a damn $1 a can.
I'm in prison, starting with the one that shocked me the most, Phil Lewis, who played Mr. Mosby on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. He went to prison for manslaughter. So in 1991, way before The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody aired, Phil killed a 21-year-old girl while drinking and driving. But he was released early and only served 1 year because of the work he did in prison. Next, we got Debbie Ryan, who played Bailey Pickett on The Sweet Life on Deck. When Debbie was 22 years old, she was arrested and charged with a DUI DUI after she crashed her car with another person and severely injured them. Okay, this one's crazy. Back in 2018, Adam Hicks, who starred in Zeke and Luther, was arrested after going around pointing guns at people and robbing them with the help of his girlfriend, Danny. He ended up getting only 5 years in prison, and now he's pursuing his music career and he's on TikTok. Now, this one definitely caught me off guard because Mitchell Musso played such an innocent kid on Hannah Montana, but he was arrested for public intoxication on August 26th of this year when he apparently stole a bag of chips from a store, but he denies this ever happened. Mitchell was also arrested back in 2011 when he was 20 years old for a DUI. Let me know which one surprised you the most, because mine was Mr. Mosby.
Yeah, it was Mr. Mosby for me as well. You never would have guessed that.
Do you think ghosts can help solve cold cases? Well, throughout history, there's been reports of ghosts coming back to tell their loved ones who killed them, like the story of Fred Fisher. And if you're interested in these kind of stories, I just did a podcast episode on the most famous one. So in 1826, an Australian man by the name of Fred Fisher disappeared into thin air. But this never sat right with his best friend John, because Fred seemed to have left in the middle of the night and didn't take any of his stuff with him. Fred's neighbor claimed that he had gone back to England and had named him the power of attorney. And then his neighbor starts selling all of Fred's stuff. So John starts thinking that something is not right. So one night, months later, John is walking down the street, he's had a few drinks, and right when he's passing Fred's property, he sees a ghostly figure standing in his yard. It looks exactly like Fred, but he's completely pale with like this dead stare. And the figure just lifts one hand slowly and points past John to a creek that's behind him. So the next day, John goes down to the creek right around where this apparition was telling him to go, and sure enough, he finds Fred's body. Not only did this ghost lead John to Fred's body, but it also led to the arrest of the sketchy neighbor for his murder. This full story and more this week on the pod.
Ghosts coming back and telling their side of the story wasn't in the...
In 1992, the body of Aglina Diaz de Leon was found right here in this church courtyard. My fiance and I host the podcast Murder in America, and we decided to visit this church on a sunny day last month so we could tell Aglina's story to all of you guys. In 1992, Aglina was found right here in the courtyard of the building, nude, and her throat had been slashed after she was strangled. For 10 years after the crime, nobody had a clue who killed Aglina, and it was a national mystery. That is, until one day in 2002, when police finally got a lead through DNA. Witnesses saw a man named Guadalupe Sandoval near the scene of the crime the night that it happened, and DNA linked him 10 years later to the murder. In the meantime, he had married and raised 2 kids. You never know who you're marrying, I guess.
Truly don't, and it sounds like he got away with it too. Sickening.
The Muffin Man is actually a serial killer. You know the Muffin Man nursery rhyme, right? But did you know it was based on a dark, true story? 1 second. Chocolate chip. Tastes like your mama booty. But yeah, the story is darker than you think. Because in the 1800s, there was a man named Frederick Thomas Linwood. And he would wait lurking in alleys, looking for his next victims. And they would always be kids. You see, he would kidnap them and unalive them, luring them in with muffins. I mean, what kid wouldn't want a tasty snack? When the townspeople got word of what was happening, they decided to come together and figure out a way to prevent this, to spread awareness amongst the kids and keep them safe, warning them about the Muffin Man, who was a danger on Drury Lane. You're walking past the alleyway, and the Muffin Man gets you. Your fourth act sees this and tries to rescue you. Let me know who it is, and let me know if you think you'd be doomed or not. Anyways, he's one of the first documented serial killers in the world. And everyone still teaches this song to their kids, even children TV shows. And yet nobody knows that...
The Muffin Man. I heard about that because of Shrek, bro. You know, the Muffin Man scene between Gingerbread Man and Lord Farquaad. Classic.
Nobody has been able to explain this creepy viral video. For the past 11 years, a man who runs a TikTok account by the name of Dude, My House is Haunted has been pretty confident that there has been some paranormal activity within his home. He claims that ever since his wife passed away, there have been some strange and unusual things going on. So eventually he decided to leave cameras out and record what was happening and post it onto TikTok, which is the footage that you are about to see. In this video, you can see a chair seemingly moving on its own. It moves somewhat slowly until it suddenly is violently pulled into the corner by the kitchen. A mysterious, shadowy figure can be seen moving behind the chair, and then suddenly out of nowhere, the chair is thrown into the kitchen. Now, of course, we're not really sure what happened in this video, but I'm having a hard time coming up with an explanation for this one.
Or it could just be an edit. Simple as that.
Insanely dark facts and things that have happened at Disney World. When Disney had first opened way back in the 70s, Walt Disney had originally hired spies. He would station them around the park so they could eavesdrop on the guests and get a feel for how they actually liked the experience. It's pretty much common knowledge that Disney does have an underground tunnel system, but did you know that that system runs a full 9 acres under the park, and people have actually gotten lost down there? Roughly 10 or so years ago, there was an incident that was reported near Space Mountain when a guest tried to sneak on a duffel bag. When employees found out and they asked to search it, they found inside a 6-month-old baby. Why this parent was trying to sneak a baby onto a roller coaster, we do not know. In a lesser-known incident that Disney actually covered up pretty well, in 2004, a 38-year-old cast member who was playing Pluto was run over by the Beauty and the Beast float during the opening parade. Although clearly deceased at the scene, Disney refused to declare the death until the body was brought outside of the park.
Things companies to do for money, man.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 18. A man from Queens once spent 5 months in jail completely unaware that his bail was just $2. Since spiders molt, when you see what you might think is a dead spider, it could just be that the spider left behind its exoskeleton and is now bigger than before, around with a bunch of poop inside of them. Scientists accidentally killed the world's oldest living animal, which was a clam that lived to be 507 years old. Statistically speaking, at least one person who comments on this video will not be alive tomorrow. The real reason you shouldn't eat raw cookie dough isn't because of getting sick from eating raw eggs. It's because you shouldn't eat raw flour, which contains fecal matter from all the birds flying over the field and pooping on the wheat.
I bet you didn't know that these 3 myths aren't true. So the first one is that if you swallow chewing gum, your stomach will take 7 years to digest it. And that's just not true. And that's totally cap, because if you swallow some gum, it'll only take about 2 to 4 days to pass through your entire system.
Wow.
The second myth is that cracking your knuckles will give you arthritis. Scientists have not yet discovered a correlation between cracking your knuckles and arthritis. However, over time it can lessen your grip strength. And at number 3, we have the myth that sugar makes kids hyper. I totally thought this one was true, but scientists say that it's completely false. While it has been proven that sugar can change your mood and make you feel more active, there's no real connection between kids being hyper and the consumption of sugar.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna have to call cap on that last one, bro. Because if you get some kids some sugar, bro, they'll be freaking hyper, man, running all around the place, man. I don't believe that last one. Like I said, when we watch these videos together with you guys, we always gotta do our own research. Where he at? The middle of the night. Could not be me.
AC is not working. Look at everyone. So many people, they are using these magazines. AC is not working at all. And as usual, your TV screens are also not working. Neither this button for calling the cabin crew. Nothing is working. Nothing. Not even the light is working. See. This is what you are providing. And as usual, that is why Air India is considered as one of the worst airlines in the world.
We all know how that ended.
These are facts that make death even scarier. Up first, since the first ever human being, about 108 billion people have died. If you just stop and think about that for a second, it's actually impossible to wrap your head around. Every single human being you've ever read about has lived on this planet and died. Next up, we've all heard the phrase, he died of old age. But that is a complete myth. You don't actually die from old age, but instead all the sicknesses and diseases that come with getting old. Getting old is actually awful, and it's probably one of the worst things about being a human. Finally, by the time you finish this video, 150 to 200 people will have died. People die every second of the day, which should make you stop and appreciate your life right now, because it could be gone within seconds.
You're spitting at the end, man. You gotta appreciate the time we have now.
Can you imagine living with someone that you know is trying to end your life? This hidden camera captures a moment this woman puts bleach inside her husband's coffee maker multiple times a day. This is Robbie Johnson, and he began setting up cameras all around his house when he started to notice that his coffee was tasting a little off. He wasn't really expecting to catch anything, but when he looked back at the footage, he was shocked. His wife Melody is seen pouring a substance inside his coffee maker every single day before he brewed the coffee. Robbie got testing strips, and each time it tested positive for chlorine. At this time, Robbie and Melody were in the process of a divorce, but they were still living together. Robbie pretended to drink his coffee every morning and continued to gather evidence so that he can go to police. But when he showed police all this footage, they said that they couldn't see exactly what Melody was pouring into the coffee maker, so he couldn't prove it. So Robbie had to set up even more cameras around the house with different angles so that it can prove that Melody was in fact poisoning him. Melody was charged with attempted murder, and I bet this guy will never let anyone else make him a coffee again.
Damn right. Now, after seeing that.
Today I'm going to be asking my haunted doll about S-Walkers. I won't say their name because people don't like saying their name. So if you don't know what an S-Walker is, basically it's this creature that's been seen throughout history. A lot of Native American culture believes in these walkers and believe that they are demonic entities that kind of pose themselves as animals or different types of species. So I'm going to ask my haunted doll what she thinks of them, if she believes in them. The link to the Spirit Box app I use is in my bio. Lola, do you believe in S-Walkers? Yes, she does. Have you ever come across one before? Yes. That was a really quick yeah. Have you ever been attacked by an S-Walker? No, that's good. They're dangerous. Are they dangerous to be around? Yes. I feel her getting very anxious about it. I think that's confirmation that she's anxious. Lola, do you think any of our followers have ever had an experience with S-Walkers? Yeah, she thinks that maybe some of you have. Will you keep our followers safe from these creatures? Yes, she will. She'll always keep you guys safe. She'll do the best she can.
I don't know, what was that device just twisting how she communicated with that dog?
What's a missing persons case that still keeps you up at night? I always think about the disappearance of Nicholas Downey and how he completely disappeared after his rental car was found abandoned. So this is 37-year-old Nicholas Downey, and he was last seen on February 27th, 2023 in Bristol, Florida. At the time he was working in Bradenton, but he'd taken a week off to go and visit his wife Holly, who was staying at a rehabilitation center in Mississippi. For the trip, Nicholas rented a Tesla through the Turo app. He was on his way back home when on February 26th, he pulled off of Interstate 10 to recharge the Tesla behind a McDonald's in Marianna, Florida. Security footage shows that someone exited the vehicle to charge it, but the footage was too blurry to know if it was actually Nicholas getting out of the car. The person then gets back into the car before pulling on a State Road 71 heading south instead of getting back on the interstate. While this was happening, the car's owner was watching its progress on the Turo app and saw the direction it was heading. This worried the owner because the car wasn't heading back to Tampa as planned, and he already had the car scheduled to be rented out by another customer the following day. So he sent Nicholas a text message to make sure that he was okay, which would have showed up on the car's dashboard, but he never got a response back. Nicholas was scheduled to go back to work the morning of February 27th, but he never showed up. Instead, that morning, the Tesla he was renting was found abandoned in Liberty County, parked between Turkey Creek and Prison Road. This area is, I guess, known as the Stoke site. But Nicholas was nowhere to be found. The car only had a little bit of charge left and the windshield was damaged. Authorities found that the car at some point had driven under a cable, and this was confirmed when they found the cable in question about 1.5 miles away with the car's white paint on it. The police contacted the vehicle's owner, who was then able to remotely unlock it. And inside the car, police found 2 phones, one belonging to Nicholas and one belonging to his wife, who wasn't allowed to have a personal phone at the rehab center. Also inside the car was a change of clothes, a McDonald's receipt, a drone that Nicholas used for work, and an unknown substance. Authorities searched the area surrounding the car by land and air, and they even brought in tracking dogs, but no trace of Nicholas has ever been found. According to a sheriff that was on the scene, he said that there were hardly any footprints surrounding the car, and that something isn't adding up. His family didn't even know about his disappearance until a few days later on March 3rd when his wife was allowed to call him, but a deputy answered instead. The car rental was without contact and done through the Turo app, so the owner of the car never actually met Nicholas. And according to Nicholas's mom, she last spoke to him around 8:30 the night he went missing, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. She mentioned that Nicholas did struggle with alcohol and drugs in the past, but he's never just not reached out. They talk almost every day, so it's not like him to just disappear. It's now been a year and Nicholas is still missing. If you have any information about his disappearance at all, please contact the number on the screen.
He just vanished. That was a weird story. Through that Turo app, that's when they be using to rent cars, right? Luxury cars. I've heard about that.
This might be the scariest thing that ever happened to America. We all know that America had a lot of scary things happen to it. But this has to be the scariest thing ever. On August 29th, 1968, every single TV in America shut down. But a demonic whispering was coming from every TV in America. Many people believe that it was the devil trying to get across some message. But nobody really understood it. This lasted for about 25 seconds. Then all the TVs came back on. To this day, nobody knows what caused it or why it happened, but everybody believes it was the works of the devil.
Glad I wasn't around during that.
December 29th, 1986, a California Highway Patrol officer named Craig Pyre drove his cruiser down Interstate 15 in San Diego, California. With him was an NBC News reporter filming a segment about highway travel safety that was set to air later that night. At around 4 a.m. the previous morning, a 20-year-old college student named Kara Knott had been found strangled to death in a creek right near the Mercy Road exit. And so as Officer Pyre passed by the Mercy Road exit and continued down Interstate 15, as they filmed, he began talking about the basics of highway travel safety.
Anything could happen. Being a female, you could be raped, robbed if you're a male, all the way to where you could be killed.
As this particular segment was filmed, Officer Pyre was looking ahead and he noticed there was a car pulled over on the shoulder of the highway with its hazards on. So he turned to the news crew and basically said, look, here's a chance for us to actually show what to do in case your car breaks down on the highway. Officer Pyre walked over to the passenger side door of this car and asked him to explain what happened to your car. The driver said he had run out of gas and then gotten stranded on the side of the road. And then he had left his car and walked to a gas station to get a gas can. And all the way back, he put the gas into his car, but his car still wouldn't start. This driver is doing basically exactly what he shouldn't be doing, according to the safety tips Officer Pyre had given. And so on camera, he basically says to this guy, do you understand how dangerous it is to have left your car like that and walked alone on this highway? And the driver just kind of looked at him and shrugged like, yeah, I guess so. After that, Officer Pyre and the news crew wrapped up filming. They told him what time to expect his segment to air on NBC that night. And when Officer Pyre's actual segment aired on TV, there were a few people, when they watched this clip, that noticed something very specific. And within an hour of this clip airing on TV, those few people were calling the police in droves to tell them, we know what happened to Kara Knott. It would turn out all the clues the police needed to solve the Kara Knott murder case were right there in that 1.5 minute long video. Because what happened to Kara had almost happened to over 24 other women in San Diego. The other 24 women who encountered the same person, the killer. They were terrorized and tortured and held hostage for a couple of hours, but eventually were let go. But Kara wasn't. During her encounter, at some point, the killer clubbed her over the head and then strangled her to death with a rope. Now, the killer at first had gotten away with this until they were featured on that 1.5 minute long video. And some of those women who had survived their attack, they're watching the segment and suddenly their attacker is on TV. And so put that all together and they thought, boom, that's the person who killed Kara Knott. And sure enough, the police would follow up on these tips and they would confirm that the man in the video was Kara's killer. And Kara's killer was none other than Officer Craig Pyre. Officer Pyre was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 25 years to life in prison.
I was the officer. That was a plot twist. You gave him safety tips, but he was doing those things himself.
What did Buzz Aldrin see in Antarctica? Let's rewind. So in 2016, a satellite got an image of what experts believed to be a huge pyramid in Antarctica. Now, if this was in fact a pyramid, it would be the largest pyramid ever found on Earth. Bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza, which was about 230 meters wide. This pyramid in Antarctica would be 2,000 meters wide. Now, apparently in 2016, Buzz Aldrin and a crew got together and went to Antarctica to explore and check out this colossal pyramid. They wanted to see it for themselves. But this is where it gets crazy. While on the expedition, Buzz Aldrin suffered a heart attack. He was hospitalized for days. But when he fully recovered and left the hospital, he tweeted something strange, but then quickly deleted it. It said, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself." Now, what the hell he talking about? Cause I don't want to find out. Someone close to Buzz said they had a talk with him and he said this.
Buzz did say one thing. He just said, we thought out things we shouldn't. And I went, what do you mean by that?
Come on, man. What did they find? Was it aliens, a Nephilim giant, other humans? If it is a pyramid, who built it? And what was living in it?
You got contact with aliens, bro?
Yo, what's up? These are Kids That Killed, Part 5. Today on our list, Aaron Campbell. On July 2nd, 2018, 6-year-old Alicia McPhail was nowhere to be found throughout her house. Her parents searched her room, the living room, and every other part of the house, but she could not be found. But the crazy thing was her bicycle was still parked out on the curb, so she couldn't have gone far. I mean, she was only 6 years old and didn't have a habit of running away, so her parents began to worry. But it turns out that this 16-year-old psychopath Aaron Campbell had actually contacted Alicia's dad the night before trying to buy some drugs. And when he went to pick him up and Alicia's dad wouldn't answer, he snuck inside the home, grabbed Alicia while she was sleeping, and kidnapped her. Alicia then woke up while she was being carried around by her kidnapper, and he told her that she had nothing to worry about and that he was a friend of her father's and he was going to get her home safely. But that was far from the truth. It'd be shortly after the young girl woke up that the 16-year-old would move on to brutally beat this young 3-foot-tall 6-year-old girl. It wouldn't be until the morning after this incident where the parents and neighbors would have a search party going out to look for the young girl, and they would find her dumped in a woodland area about 15 minutes away from their home with over 117 different injuries on her body. It was said that they found trace evidence of semen on this girl's body, and it was even claimed by forensics that she was beaten long after she had already died. It was later found out by the police during an investigation that Aaron Campbell was the one who committed these horrific acts on this young girl, and at the age of 20, when he was in prison already, he actually got beat and his front tooth went through the top of his lip. Sorry, Aaron, but you got what was coming to you.
This family was last seen in 2022, but have never been seen since. Hello, true crimers. This is the case of the Bernstein family. Viewer discretion is advised. Pictured here in the middle is 33-year-old mother Abigail Bernstein. Pictured here with her two sons, 11-year-old Kowakai Bernstein and 8-year-old Kush Bernstein. So this case originates on the island of Oahu, specifically in Honolulu. Abigail had allegedly met a man online and they planned to take a year-long trip, a boat trip. In October of 2022, Abigail and her two children were last seen here at the Alawai Boat Harbor in Honolulu, Hawaii. The identity of the man that she met and was going on this trip with, I don't think has been made public. I can't, even the FBI, website doesn't have any information on him. But what the FBI has stated is that the boat returned in 2023. I'm assuming that means with the man, but again, I'm not 100% sure. What is sure, however, is that Abigail and her two sons were not on that boat. This entire family has not been seen since they left that boat dock in 2022. Once they were reported missing, the FBI becomes involved, and the FBI would find out that Abigail and her two kids were living a very nomadic lifestyle. They completely cut off, or Abigail did, cut off all communications with her family. So it was literally just her and the two kids. Her two sons were not enrolled in school at the time of their disappearance. Neither of the two kids, or Abigail especially, had a cell phone. They cut off their cell phone before they left. And again, I have to assume that this man they went with was questioned and talked to. I don't know what, if they did, I don't know what he said. It's very strange because the FBI is saying that they don't have any evidence of foul play. However, they cannot rule foul play out. They just don't have proof of it. Most importantly, they don't have this entire family. Where did they go? Some believe that they, could have just started a new life somewhere on another island. Abigail had connections not only to Oahu, but also on the Big Island. She also had connections to people in Naples, Florida, Petoskey, Michigan, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I can only assume that they have investigated those angles as well. The hope is that they are just living off the grid somewhere. And if it was just Abigail, they would probably not be pushing this as hard because, she's a 33-plus-year-old adult. But there are 2 children involved here, and there is concern for their well-being, not necessarily because of Abigail, just because nobody knows where they are or what they're doing, but somebody out there has to have seen them. And as badly as Abigail may not want to be found, people just need to know where these kids are at. Someone somewhere out there knows the truth, and perhaps that someone is you. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Abigail Bernstein or her 2 sons, please contact the Honolulu, Hawaii FBI office at 808-673-2719.
She sound like she just vanished. She trying to live off the
She
grid.
ate a poisonous cake that was left at her doorstep. 17-year-old Ana Neves was from Brazil, and she was described as a quiet girl who had a few close friends. Secretly, one of Anna's best friends was actually jealous of her, and she was planning something sinister. On May 30th of 2025, a guy delivered a package with a cake inside to Anna's home. Anna wasn't home at the time, so her sister took in the package. Anna arrived home later that evening around 6 p.m. and her sister was so excited to show her this cake because it had a note that said, "A treat for the most beautiful girl I've ever seen." Anna was flattered because she believed this was from a secret admirer, and as she was eating this cake, she had no idea that that was a big mistake. Less than an hour after eating that cake, she started to vomit violently and have severe diarrhea. The following day, her symptoms got worse and her father rushed her to the hospital. Medical staff told her that she had food poisoning, so she was given medicine and hooked up to an IV drip, and slowly she started to get better. Soon she was discharged and sent home because it seemed like she was back to normal. But later that day, once she was home, she fell on her bathroom floor and suffered a cardiac arrest. Once emergency services arrived to her home, she had passed away. Anna's family was trying to figure out how this could have even happened to her, and that's when Anna's sister remembered that there was a strange guy who had dropped off this delivery. Her family contacted the police, and they were able to determine that this cake was bought at a local pastry shop named Menina Trufa. The owner of the shop spoke with police, and she stated that an order was made for this cake and that an unknown delivery guy from an app had picked it up and delivered it. Police tracked down the guy who delivered this cake, and he was able to get the address of the person who ordered this cake, and it ended up being Anna's best friend. That friend was brought in for questioning, and at first she denied everything and stated that she had nothing to do with her friend's death, but after hours of questioning with the police, she admitted to everything and stated that she had laced the cake with arsenic that she had bought online for $11.50. She stated that she only meant to scare Anna and didn't mean to harm her at all. She ended up stating that she did this to someone else by sending them a poisonous cake as well because 2 of her boyfriends left her for this girl. This other victim became extremely ill, but fortunately she survived. This friend was sent to a young offenders institution, and her identity is currently being hidden, and there is no updates on any kind of sentencing.
Sometimes, man, your friends aren't your friends. Sad fact. She was jealous of her friend, so she sent her that cake. Jealous, she'll drive you to do some.
This is a
dark
true
things.
horrifying story of Hamdan School in Uganda. This school is an Islamic boarding school for girls. It was donated by one of the royal family members of Dubai 22 years ago. This story was submitted by Afra. An Arabic girl back in 2009 was a student at this high school. She knew that the school was haunted and that there was a graveyard right behind the school. And she heard rumors of many incidents where girls were possessed by jinns. But everything else about the school seems fine, because it's one of the most successful Islamic boarding schools in that region. But that does not deny the fact that jinns may live inside the school. Afra experienced something, and being in her 30s today, this one incident will always haunt her. Afra had a mutual friend that was a student in that same school. She was regularly possessed by one jinn. Out of all the religious students, she was one of the very few that didn't really care about the Islamic education. She always used to party, drink, hangs out with guys, and the jinn that used to possess her was surprisingly a Muslim. He was just furious that she used to disobey her family and her religion. They brought her to one of the halls in the school and they started a ruqya session. Afra was there witnessing the whole thing. After many attempts of trying to make this jinn speak, he finally responded. I am possessing this girl because she disobeys. I will not leave until she changes. They were all shocked and they proceed with the recitation. The moment they stop, just for a few seconds, the possessed girl stares at Afra. Who is this girl? Why is she very quiet? She is very pretty, very nice, but I cannot go near her. Afra froze in her place. She felt numb all around, and she was not able to move a single muscle. The Imam was intrigued, so he asks the jinn, why can't you go near her? What is stopping you? It was a back and forth questioning. The jinn kept saying, I can't. Why can't you? Until it responded. There is someone in front of her with light. What does that mean? They ask. There is someone in front of her with light. I can't go near her. They couldn't interpret what this was exactly. It could have been the veil of light from the Adhkar. But regardless, Afra will never forget the demon's eyes staring deep into her soul, wanting to possess her.
What different dimensions look like.
Okay, so we have a glass table in someone's kitchen. Boom. There is a whole other world, a whole other dimension, all around us. All
Really?
But we can't see it. Stay weird, y'all.
Let me tell you what I just learned today. A 9-year-old who was supposed to run a 5K race accidentally took a wrong turn into the adult 10K race and ended up winning it. That is so awesome. Elvis Presley's private jet was sold for $260,000 after being parked abandoned in the desert for the last 40 years. Can only imagine the history of what happened on that jet. There's a town in Poland where all 6,000 residents live on the same street. Why? The Match founder lost his girlfriend because she met someone else on Match.com. This is a nuclear explosion photo that was captured at 1/1,000,000th of a second. There was a woman that was so focused on a seagull that she missed her boyfriend proposing to her. This is the original check for $7.2 million that bought Alaska from Russia in 1868. Eva Longoria spent $6 million to save the movie John Wick after her agent convinced her it was the right decision, and she now believes it was the best money she ever spent because she still receives checks 10 years.
She's right. John Wick is a legend.
This is just incredibly unbelievable. Arizona has sandstorms, and they're so intense that when they blow through, they cover the entire city. Take a look at this video. Look at this. This was just the other day in Arizona.
Whoa.
This is Arizona, believe it or not. Look at that. That's sand. That's a sandstorm blowing in, covering the entire city. So they're saying that that storm is called a haboob. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with what a haboob is, it's a dust storm, a sandstorm. It includes up to 90-mile-per-hour winds that push the dust straight through the city of Arizona. To me, like many of you who have seen the videos coming out of Arizona, it doesn't just appear to be dust. Take a look at this.
What is it?
That's crazy. Oh, what the heck?
They driving in that?
That car's gonna...
What does that look like to you?
Can't see anything, bro, and they driving in that.
The crazy part about all of this, once that sandstorm/dust storm was done, they were hit with a crazy rainstorm. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as to what you think is going on in Arizona. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
This massive animatronic
What do you
breathes, and there's a video of it breathing at the end if you just want to go skip and see that. It's 30 feet long or 10 meters long, and don't get me wrong, it's absolutely gorgeous. However, I would be terrified to go near this thing. Once again, my account is about megalophobia and creepy things that I find creepy. But yeah, this thing is absolutely massive. Look at it compared to those two people up there. Also, damn girl, for free? It's an installation that's in London this month, and I think it's going to be there next month too. Maybe I'll actually go look at it because I am going to London next month. But it's in front of Somerset House, which is like an art kind of gallery place. But the fact that it breathes creeps me out so bad. Like, I'm just waiting for it to like break that glass and like escape and just like pummel people. Like, I'm going to be ready to fight. It's by an artist called Ty Shawnee, and it's called The Spell or The Dream. And she's sleeping, and I'm just waiting for her to wake up and wreak havoc. Watch this video of her breathing and let me know how you're feeling, and would you go near this thing?
Let's check it out. Oh, that's creepy, bro. It's really breathing, what the hell?
Some of the most disturbing moments in kids' TV shows. Part 2. Mr. Meaty was a Nickelodeon TV show that aired for 2 seasons in 2005 that involved 2 ugly teenage puppets, Josh and Parker, selling meat to other puppets at a fast food restaurant. Although the show itself was disturbing enough and filled with gross scenes, one episode called Moochmaster P traumatized every person who watched it. The episode consists of Parker mooching off everybody's lunch in the mall until he decides to eat the raw burgers they planned on serving. Because of this, Parker discovers that a large tapeworm has begun living in his stomach due to the raw burger. The duo quite literally fish the tapeworm out of his stomach and it squirms around until being caught. A man then offers to buy the worm for a zoo, only to let the worm go down his own throat. Needless to say, this was a truly haunting episode of this disturbing TV show.
I don't remember that show.
Babies in Mississippi dying before they even reach the age 1. When I tell y'all, so many children, it's so many children. They are saying it is off the charts, y'all. And I'm sitting here like, how is this normal? Nobody see that this is crazy? Nobody see the problem with this? Why is nobody talking about this? We are talking about infants in Mississippi passing away at an alarming rate. As a matter of fact, they are saying 9.7 infant deaths per 1,000 babies born.
It's way too high.
They say this is the highest level within a decade, y'all. And guess what race is leading at the top of this? Just guess. If you guess blacks, you were right. Look what they say, y'all. This shit is crazy, fool. What? Now you just read what I read. So what is your questions? Because I'm trying to figure out why is black among the leading in this? What is going on? I really need y'all thoughts down below in the comments. Make sure you share this. This is wild.
Something big is happening in the UK right now. In recent weeks, England flags have been popping up all over the country. And while that might seem uncontroversial, a country flying its own flag, in the UK, it's kind of rare. And it sparked a heated debate of whether it's racist to fly the England flag or not. It's been dubbed Operation Raise the Flag, and they've started appearing pretty much anywhere a flag can be hung. Lampposts, bridges, over highways, and it's even being painted on crossings and roundabouts. People who support this operation often argue that raising the flag is about being able to be proud of traditional British identity, which they argue has been suppressed in the country in recent years. Others, however, say that when they look at this flag, they see white supremacy, and it being hung up everywhere is like a reminder that they should go back to their country. It's to the point where some argue that if the country wants a flag that isn't seen as oppressive and instead represents a modern-day Britain, they should change the flag. And this situation only got more controversial when reports started coming out that some local governments started removing these flags, citing safety reasons. So there's one side that say the England flag represents pride in British identity and history, while the other side say that much of British history is marked by oppression and that the flag serves as a reminding symbol. So while it might seem like just an argument about a flag, in reality it's a fight over what will be the identity of modern day Britain. So the question is, what do you guys think?
See, this is the reason why I don't be getting on rides at amusement parks now. Them shits are not safe. Did you see the video of the girl that flew out of the fair ride? Mind you, when you see the video, you're not gonna notice. But somebody remixed the video, put the video in black and white, and slowed the video down, and you see the girl flying out of the fair ride. The video is titled, "You Think You Could Hurt Me?" I literally saw my friend passed away on the fair. Nah, man. And no, I'm not putting the video up here because I don't even think the video should be on social media. This shit is crazy. And just to show you shit was real, look at the aftermath of this shit. Look at this shit right here. This is after everything happened. This shit is crazy, man. This is exactly why I don't play that amusement park shit. No Great Adventures, no amusement parks, none of that shit. I'm not riding rides. I'm not doing anything. I've seen too many people get on them rides and not get off them rides to be playing with them rides. I'm from the era where people was getting on the Cyclone in Coney Island. If you know Coney Island, you know the Cyclone. You know how old that shit was? And now they finally said, you know what? We're not gonna open the ride anymore. Cyclone closed. I'm from the era where people was getting on the hellhole in Coney Island, spinning around and dying, breaking their legs and all that shit in the hellhole. I'm not with that. Nope, we not gonna do that.
Peggy the doll is causing...
Hey man, some people, they ain't into roller coasters. I'm one of them, man. I think I legit only rode one. And after that, man, I couldn't do it, bro. That ain't it for me. If I ride, it has to be safe. Like, I have to know, guarantees nothing ever happened on that ride.
Nosebleeds, heart attacks, and even deaths. She's currently residing in Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. Peggy has a reputation for causing severe reactions for people she comes in contact with. One of these encounters was even caught on camera. Visitors of the museum have reported a range of disturbing experiences after interacting with Peggy. Some have had nosebleeds, some have fainted, chest pain, and even heart attacks. Others have reported feeling extreme rage, nausea, or dizziness. And these incidents have been so frequent that guests actually have to sign a waiver before they're allowed to enter in the room that she's in. When psychic mediums attempt to communicate with her, they actually reveal a lot of disturbing information. They claim that everything happens because the spirit that's inhabiting Peggy is angry and vengeful. This video was put onto TMZ earlier this week and it's extremely disturbing.
How do people visit things like that? Bad spirits. Is she like faint? The woman didn't even try to catch her. She okay?
Let me know what you thought about all of that and follow for more.
You guys,
I ain't going there.
The Doomsday map. They came out with a map that looks like this.
Oh, wow.
This is America. They do like the whole world, but this shot is of America. But this lady, her name is Peggy Bolton. She did some really fun research regarding the Doomsday map. She compared what this map looked like. She compared that to the land that Bill Gates has been buying. All the farmland. He is the majority farmland owner in the United States right now. She took the map of the farmland that he owns and overlaid it onto this Doomsday map. Every single dry land piece was occupied by his farmland, including California. So California is basically completely underwater, but there's these little pockets of islands. You see those? That little one right there, that's one of his farmlands. Like that compared to like Zuckerberg. Oh, because on this Doomsday map, Hawaii is completely fine. And she talked about how Jeff Bezos is also buying up farmland around the US. That all correlates with like these high points in America. It's super creepy.
So we need to get a boat.
According to this map, we're good. We're almost at beachfront property, baby.
All the kids missing in Virginia.
What happened?
There's like 400 plus kids missing. Ice cream trucks around Virginia that are going around at 1 a.m. to unusual times, bro.
And they're like taking
Yes,
kids.
a shorty posted a TikTok because an ice cream truck was chilling in her backyard.
Yeah,
but she's getting voicemails.
This is probably one of the creepiest voicemails I have ever gotten.
You don't know me, and I don't think you'll find out who I am. Since you're a TikTok investigator, let's play a little game.
No, she's giving clues though. So it's like, since you want to debunk this whole ice cream, we'll do it to you. No, she's trying to be like a movie.
Yes. If you like big fruits in your backyard, go out and find out what's in it. And I've got nobody will get involved because it's shitty.
Like, what was that at the end?
Fam!
What was in it though?
She didn't go, obviously. She called the cops. Ice cream trucks. What are ice cream trucks lured to? Kids out.
Yeah. Hold on. When did this happen?
A week ago. Weapons. And go!
Oh my god.
Yo, you know when you're talking about movies?
It manifest life?
Manifest life?
Come here. You want some
That's creepy, bro.
Free ice.
We got a bunch. We got everything you could imagine. What'd you like?
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, come on in. Come grab it.
I have to come in.
Come on, grab it.
You're supposed to give it to me.
No, well, it's free. No, you gotta come grab it.
Do y'all realize the CIA, Hollywood, the FBI, they're all in on it together, right? Some of the best brainwashing technology is literally the TV, the cell phone, because they tell you the truth in movies and TV shows. Because of universal law, they have to tell you what they're doing or what they're gonna do so they don't get no bad karma from it. But they don't tell it to you straight up because then you're actually gonna pay attention to it. So they tell you subtly using entertainment. And that's one of the best ways to subliminally program somebody is using entertainment. Because while you're busy being entertained, while you're busy laughing, you're not paying attention to the knowledge that was encoded into what you're being entertained by. There is esoteric knowledge in almost all the movies and TV shows that we have. There is esoteric knowledge in many TV shows and movies that you watch. There are subliminal messages, hidden occultism, hidden symbolism in almost every show and movie you watch. Gas stations, your grocery stores, everything around us is hidden symbolism. Because that's the thing, when you didn't design something, you don't know what its actual intended purpose was. All you can do is take the word of the person who designed it and say, yeah, this is what it's for. And you just gotta believe them. But what you don't understand is if that person is smarter than you, if they know more knowledge than you don't know what their intent is. Before I woke up in...
Speaking facts, man, you know how many years I came out later watching these kids together with you guys, what they be putting in the TV shows and movies. You don't understand as a kid, but as you get older, you get the message behind it. So always pay attention, man.
This matrix, I kept hearing people say that we will have the mark of the beast and it will be a chip or a mark on our hand. Some people believe it will be on our forehead, but I believe it's already in our hand. It's in our hand. So many people sitting around waiting for the chip to look like this. What if I told you we already have the mark of the beast and it's already in my hand as I make this video? Yes, the chip or the mark of the beast is our cell phone. You ever ask yourself, why do we have to have a two-way security with everything? They don't want to send you an email. They want to call you or send you a text. What, an email is not good enough? Nah, that's because they want everyone to have a cell phone. All you have to do is look at the first 4 letters in cell phone. You get cell. When you get locked up, they put you in a prison cell. Kind of makes sense, right? You have so many people that's obsessed with taking selfies, but they don't even realize that their selfies is just a mugshot. People keep saying 666. 666 is the mark of the beast. 666 is not the mark of the beast. These devices we hold in our hand is the mark of the beast. They give us these fancy cameras so we can think that we are doing something. No, they are just watching us. They give us these fancy ass speakers. No, they are just listening to us. Okay. You ever find yourself sitting back just minding your business, having random thoughts, then you pick up your cell phone and your thoughts is now inside of the cell phone? Before you Google something, it's already there waiting for you. They said that there will be a time where you won't be able to buy or sell without the chip. Last time I checked, on our cell phones, we buy and we sell almost everything. Shit is getting to the point where people don't even want to go outside. They just can shop and buy off their cell phones. You ever see how people act when the new cell phone come out? You ever see how people act if they drop and break their cell phone? Shit. You ever see how children react if their parents take away their cell phone? I even heard stories of children killing their parents just because they took away their cell phone. But the real question we need to be asking ourselves is, why any of this? Why the marketed beast? Why they want to track us? Why they want to listen to everything we speak about? That's because the Matrix is really a prison. They need to watch and monitor certain spirits. Because if you spiritually wake up, they know who you are. If you don't want to wake up, they know who you are. The only thing we had left that was sacred was our thoughts. Now our thoughts is no longer sacred. No more secret. Our thoughts is leaking all over the internet. If they can track everything you do, they will know your next step before you know your next step. Just remember that the Matrix want to replace the universe. The universe is everywhere, all the time. It knows everything we do. So the Matrix want to copy and paste the universe and watch everything we do. This is real easy right here. Why do you think they call it the iPhone? Why do you think Siri is iris backwards? Check out my ebook.
Pink slime is now officially ground beef. What's pink slime? Let me show you. This crap up here that they add to hamburger. Watch this and see for...
Gerald Bernstein grinds his own hamburger these days. Why? Because this former USDA scientist, now whistleblower, knows that 70% of the ground beef we buy at the supermarket contains something he calls pink slime. Beef trimmings that were once used only in dog food and cooking oil, now sprayed with ammonia to make them safe to eat, and then added to most ground beef as a cheaper filler. It was Bernstein who in a USDA memo first coined the term pink slime, and is now coming forward to say he won't buy it.
It's economic fraud. It's not fresh ground beef. It's a substitute. It's a cheap substitute being added in.
Bernstein and his fellow USDA scientist Carl Custer both warned against using what the industry calls lean, finely textured beef, and is widely known now as pink slime. But their government bosses overruled them.
Why didn't you consider it beef? Because it was a salvage product. Leftovers fat that had been heated at low temperature and the excess fat spun out.
Here's how it's done. Those waste trimmings are gathered, simmered at low heat to make it easier to separate fat from muscle, put in a centrifuge and spun to finish the separation. Next, the mixture is sent through pipes where it's sprayed with ammonia gas to kill bacteria, and finally compressed into bricks and flash frozen for shipment to meat packers and grocery stores where it's added to most ground beef. And it doesn't have to appear on the label, because over objections of its own scientists, USDA officials with links to the beef industry labeled pink slime meat.
Ew! I guess you really never know what you're eating. Shabarabooskies and bon appetit, baby!
Breaking news. Shrinkflation continues. American ordered a McDonald's Filet-O-Fish sandwich and is shocked that they are now the size of a slider. I worked at McDonald's. Those are definitely smaller. Don't buy McDonald's though, but also shrinkflation is a shocking situation where you're buying something that's smaller but it's the same price or possibly even more. What's going on with our economy? What's coming around the corner with our economy? What's with the emergence of AI? Is this a part of a plan? We're going to be discussing more about this on my Rumble channel. If you want to tune in, comment the word Rumble below and check your DM.
Shrinkflation, bro. Mudlock. What's off-brand noodles?
Homemade cage for his head to stop smoking. He then gave his wife the keys and only she could open it during meals. The man's name is Ibrahim Yücel. He is a Turkish man. He was smoking 2 packs daily for 26 years and decided he wanted to stop one day. So he built a homemade cage out of copper. In my opinion, this thing looks like a torture device. And he didn't just wear this at home. He wore this outside, going to work, running his errands. He was dedicated to stop smoking. He started doing this in 2013, and I believe he is still doing this to this day. The only thing he could get through the cage was a straw from a bottle of water and maybe some crackers. He designed it in a way that you couldn't even sneak a cigarette inside there. He definitely knew he would be having withdrawals and planned this accordingly. Down here is a picture of his wife unlocking the cage for him, and over here is more of a close-up photo of the cage. And then here's a picture of him with the cage off right here. He's talking on the phone. I'm assuming he's having a meal and he's just chatting away. But honestly, props to him. If it works, it works. I'm not sure if I have any followers from Turkey, but if I do, let me know if you've seen this guy around. And let me know what you think about this story.
Weird facts.
Have you seen that before?
If you're coughing uncontrollably, just raise your hands above your shoulder and it will stop. Did you know that TikTok doesn't let you type Area 51? When crossing the street at night, turn on your phone's flashlight and point it toward oncoming traffic. If you think you're being followed, turn right 4 times, since you'll get to the same place they shouldn't be following you anymore. If they do, you might be in trouble. Don't walk down the stairs with hands in your pockets. If you type your big forehead, you get a warning. Blue color attracts mosquitoes and 2 times more than any other. Strawberries can also be white and yellow. Some even can taste like pineapples. You can't unalive yourself by holding your breath. If you search these coordinates on Google Maps, you will find a man dragging a body. Follow for more.
Really?
Nobody in the entire world can visit this island. Okay, so majority of Americans don't know about the Forbidden Island in Hawaii that is owned by one single family and nobody could visit. The island is called Niihau, and it's extremely different from anything else in the United States. There is only a population of 70 people, and they have no access to paved roads, telephone service, no running water, and the majority of the island lives off welfare checks from the US government. And with such harsh living conditions, it makes you wonder why anybody would even live on this island. And the real question is, if there's nothing to hide here, why can't anybody visit? Well, this rule that doesn't allow any outsiders onto the island was actually written into the agreement by the natives when they sold it to the Robinson family, all the way back in 1864.
Way back.
The Robinson family bought the island for $10,000 in gold, which is $325,000 today. And the crazy thing is that this family still owns the island. The Robinsons are also very focused on preserving the Hawaiian culture on this island that the natives did, so they go to church every Sunday, banned long hair for men, and kept the official Hawaiian language. But my whole opinion on this island is that if nobody can visit there and there's only 70 people on it, there's gotta be some crazy stuff going on there, right? There's just no way these 70 people are just completely normal living on this isolated island that nobody could visit. Let me know your thoughts on this, and also let me know if you've ever heard of this.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There's a 1 in 3 chance police will never identify your killer if you were murdered in the United States. If the sun exploded now, you wouldn't know about it for another 8 minutes. 20% of children report hearing voices. There are 40 supervolcanoes around the world capable of claiming 1 billion lives. And we are about 24,000 years overdue for an eruption. The air you breathe in train stations is 15% human skin. There are over 200 dead bodies on top of Mount Everest, because retrieving them is such a risk. They serve as markers for other hikers. When you die, your house cat is going to want to eat you. Speaking of pets, dogs like squeaky toys because they mimic the screams of their prey. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 2.
I know why my dog loves the squeaky toy so much. I never knew that. Be careful when you buy your squeaky toys for your dogs now.
Insane truths to now.
Morbid facts about Mike Tyson, Part 2. While visiting a zoo in the late 1980s, Tyson noticed an alpha silverback gorilla bullying all the others. He offered the zookeeper 10 grand to open the gorilla cage so that he could go in there and smash that silverback's snot box. Luckily for the gorilla, the worker declined the offer. Here's a 1997 photo of Las Vegas police facing Mike Tyson after he'd just bitten off the ear of Evander Holyfield. Tyson claimed he was in a primal blacked out state and literally wanted to kill his opponent. Mike had 6 biological children, but his little girl Exodus tragically died when she was only 4 years old. In 2009, Exodus was playing on a treadmill when she accidentally died from strangulation after falling and catching her neck on a power cord. 3 years after signing with Don King, Tyson didn't even know that he had a fan club. When he finally went there, he found a letter from a woman asking if Tyson could call her dying little boy. Tyson immediately called, hung up, cursed out Don King, then started to cry. He said that the call was 1 year too late.
If you were someone that...
Man, those freaking facts about Mike Tyson. He went through a lot in his life, man. Because you guys know what happened between that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. How some people said they kind of didn't live up to the hype, but I guess he did what he needed to do, man. I guess to get that money.
You know, has small children, please watch this video until the end because it could save their life. Basically, Bobby baby pillows are being recalled after suffocating 8 children to their end. What happened was that these 8 children were laid down to sleep on these pillows and woke up lifeless. The recall includes the original, preferred, and Pottery Barn Kids Bobby baby pillows, and if you own any of these, you can take them to a local store for a refund. These are being recalled all the way back from 2004 to September of this year, so if you own any of these from any of those years, you might be at risk. So please, never put any babies or young children to sleep in any of these, and if you know anyone with young children, please send them this video so they don't miss this life-saving information.
That's insane.
This will give you hope. This woman swept out to sea while at the beach was rescued after 37 hours of drifting over 50 miles in an inflatable swim ring. Overdoses have decreased for the first time in over 5 years. This stranger saved a 4-year-old from a flying puck at a hockey game. Every country has now banned the use of leaded gasoline in cars, with Algeria being the last one a couple years ago. Bruno was able to get a fresh start and a new life after 473 days in a shelter. A study of over 2 million people found that eating cheese is healthy for aging because of the lower stress that you experience in life. The amount of sugar consumed by kids in the United Kingdom halved in 1 year after a sugar tax was introduced. Scientists have developed a glowing dye that sticks to cancer cells, which helps scientists prevent cancer from coming back. This nearly extinct pupfish has hit a 25-year high with their population. There are less than 200 of them in one single cave in the Mojave Desert of Nevada.
Here are 3 real ways to survive Ohio. The land of Ohio is a mysterious pocket dimension located within the continental United States that is widely regarded as being one of the most dangerous places known to man. With that being said, the easiest way to guarantee your survival of this state is to simply avoid visiting it altogether. This should be a relatively easy task since no one actually lives in Ohio. Remember, if you think you have family or friends to visit there, that's just the demons whispering in your ear, and those thoughts should be ignored entirely. Secondly, if you do somehow wind up in this desolate place, remember to ignore the locals at all costs. Their lonely state might inspire you to take pity on them and engage them in conversation, but be warned, if you speak to them, you will become as they are. Finally, above all else, you'll need to try and keep moving at all times in one direction. Time and space work differently in the state of Ohio, and it may feel like you've been walking in circles for hours or even days. But remember, every step that you take is a step closer to freedom. Leave a comment if you're enjoying this series, and if you know anyone from Ohio, tag them. It might help them escape.
Any of you guys know anybody from Ohio? I don't know LeBron James, man. That's I know it comes from Ohio, but I guess this TikTok, bro, wants us to avoid it, man. And because they be Ohio, Skippity, Riz, Gyat, whatever, man. I think it originated there, bro. Oh, man, those TikToks, bro. Probably crazy, man, in Ohio, bro. Imagine walking down the street, somebody yelling, "Gyat skibbity," bro. Oh, man. Interesting. Where's it at? They brought like a whole setup.
Did you know that Art the Clown played the Grinch in a horror movie? Yes, there is a horror slasher version of the Grinch, and it's called The Mean One. The story follows Cindy Lou Who after the Grinch kills her parents, and she grows up and she decides that she's going to make it her life's mission to kidnap the Grinch and to kill him for what he did to her. And Art the Clown himself, David Howard Thornton, plays the horror version of the Grinch, the mean one, and he brings so much personality to the character even through all of the paint and prosthetics. Like, look at these cool shot comparisons. This is the original Grinch, and here we have the horror version of the Grinch. The Mean One is definitely considered a horror comedy, so keep that in mind if you choose to watch it. It's also extremely bloody and extremely silly, which I feel like you would expect. My favorite part of the movie is when Cindy Lou Who, as a child, is being interviewed by cops to try to get an idea of what this guy looks like. The sketch artist draws a little girl's description and then in all seriousness is like, "Sweetie, is this what he looks like?" It's really funny that David Howard Thornton has gotten to play a horror version of Santa as Art the Clown, and he's also gotten to be a horror version of the Grinch. Pretty cool.
Why you should always respect Mother Nature. You should, of course, never do what this guy did in that video, and viewer discretion advised for this one because there's no happy ending here. The man in the video that I showed you is 28-year-old Jacob Cockle. Jacob's passion was surfing and pretty much anything ocean-related, so he felt like the water was his element. This is likely why Jacob thought he would be able to best a whirlpool when it came to swimming by it. Initially, when Jacob jumped into the whirlpool, nothing went wrong. There were about 28 minutes of footage of him floating around on top, and this is because he had the safety of a wetsuit. Wetsuits trap a lot of air, they're very buoyant, and they're made out of neoprene. This particular whirlpool was not strong enough to take Jacob down when he's floating on the surface. However, Jacob made a grave mistake. At one point or another, Jacob decided that it would be a good idea to dive underwater to get more footage. This caused the buoyancy of his suit to drop, and the whirlpool became strong enough and sucked him down. Jacob was unfortunately not able to escape from the whirlpool's grasp. Photos with disturbing backstories.
Stay out the water, man. Photos tell a story every single time, man. That's why I always pay attention to them, bro. That's the edit. She do that. We expert level now, bro.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Sometimes you laugh, talk, and cry in sleep. It's often a spirit sitting beside you in bed. You are more likely to be bitten by someone in New York than to be bitten by a shark. A human head remains conscious for 20 seconds after being decapitated. If you search up this number on Google, you'll find people with their heads in fridges. Gelatin is made out of bones. That's right. The melted marshmallow in your hot chocolate is melted animal bone. It's good stuff. You have no way of really knowing if everyone experiences reality and consciousness the same way you do. If a panda finds a fresh carcass, they'll eat it. And last but not least, your phone is likely spying on you right now as you're watching this. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 8.
Cover your camera on your phone, bro. You go to sleep.
Myths you still believe about Canada. Canadians see snow year-round. Well, the truth is that though the winters can be harsh, most of the country's population experiences summers that can make a Californian sweat. Most Canadians live near the Canada-US border and thus experience similar weather to what you'd expect in places like Boston or New York. Toronto is the capital of Canada. Well, Toronto does have the largest population and is probably the most famous Canadian city, but it's actually Ottawa, another Ontario city, that's the capital. As the center of political power, Queen Victoria chose Ottawa to be Canada's capital on December 31st, 1857. It was determined that with its location being on the border between Canada East and Canada West, its excellent defensive position and its access to 2 different rivers to cross the country in either direction, Ottawa was the perfect city for the title.
Skinwalker
okay.
On camera.
The hell is that?
Please pardon the interruption. At this time, we are going to ask that students and staff proceed to conduct an internal lockdown. I repeat, this is not a drill. Please proceed to internal lockdown. 9 remain in internal lockdown until instructed otherwise by a uniformed officer.
Okay, guys, I need everybody right away. Back corner and down, please.
In Ohio too, what the hell?
No cell phones?
Get as close to the wall as you can, crowd it together. Marcus, get this way. Get this way. Get away from the window. Davis, hurry up. Get away from the window. Press up to these desks. Hurry up. Guys, grab these desks.
Where's Skinwalker at?
Feminine things that were originally made for men. In Persia, men wore high heels to protect their feet. Then the Europeans looked and said, let's use them too, but they did it to show that they were rich, powerful, and masculine. In their culture, the higher the heel, the more masculine you were. Bags were also made exclusively for men. This is the oldest bag ever found made for men. It is entirely decorated with dog teeth because that was the fashion of the time. A system very similar to the disposable pads we have today was originally used in World War I to stop soldiers from bleeding. That's when a nurse noticed and thought, we can put this in our underwear and we no longer need to use rags as pads. Skirts were originally worn by men throughout the history of the world.
A killer clown.
I never knew that. Our reality's blown wide open. If you would have said high heels were made for men first, I wouldn't have believed you. We learning today.
Brown was just released from prison in Florida. This case dates back to May 26, 1990, when 40-year-old Marlene Warren opened her front door. In front of her was a clown holding balloons and a basket of flowers. Marlene stated, "How nice," before the clown fatally shot her in the mouth, then calmly walked away. Authorities suspected 26-year-old Sheila Keene for years, who was having an affair with the victim's husband, Michael. But unfortunately, there wasn't enough evidence to convict her. 12 years later, Michael and Sheila wed in Las Vegas, moved to Tennessee, and started running this burger joint called the Purple Cow. They lived happily as if nothing happened, and Sheila even had the audacity to dress up as a clown one year. But in 2014, Florida authorities received a grant that allowed them to reopen the case. Advances in DNA technology allowed them to test a brown hair at the crime scene. It belonged to Sheila Keene, who was finally arrested in 2017 and pleaded not guilty. But after 7 years in jail, prosecutors gave her a deal in April of 2023. In exchange for pleading guilty to second-degree murder, she received a 12-year sentence. A Florida law allowed credit for good behavior, and that is why she was released on November 2nd of this year.
Here's a test to see if you or someone you know has thalassophobia. Thalassophobia is the fear of deep or open water. Starting off at level 1, we have this image, and if you look at the baby's feet, you can see there's nothing. And that's what freaks people out, the fact that you can't see anything but feel like there's something watching you from below. If this freaked you out, don't watch the rest, because level 2 is even worse. Level 2, we have a person falling into a huge open body of water. And to make it worse, there's some sort of squid-like creature right in the corner. And level 3, we have the worst one yet. A person floating above a huge snake-like creature that we have no idea how big it is. And if you made it this far, congrats. Make sure you send this to a friend to see if they can pass the test and hit the follow button for more.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. This map shows if your county has a McDonald's or not. If you're in a red county on this map, then you do not have a McDonald's, and there are 793 counties without them. This map shows the average weekly grocery bill across each state in the United States. Wisconsin has the lowest because Midwest states have the most farming around them. Hawaii and Alaska are the highest because of their isolation from the mainland food production. This map shows how fertility rates have decreased across the entire United States over the last 20 years. Louisiana had a tiny 0.3% decrease, while Utah had an over 30% decrease in fertility. This map shows the most common transportation methods in the United States to get to work. Most people in the United States are in a green county where it is driving alone. Orange counties are where people walk the most, yellow counties are where people take taxis or motorcycles more, and the red counties are public transportation counties, which is just San Francisco and New York City.
How y'all get to work, bro? Walk, driving, public transportation. I walk, bro. I'm a walker.
Everybody's talking about this new horror movie. It's awesome. Let's watch. I haven't watched it tonight. This movie it's so scary. I promise.
serial killer you haven't heard of and has more victims than Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and Jeffrey Dahmer combined. The Sunday morning slasher. Carl Eugene Watts targeted mostly young, attractive women walking alone in the dark. He would stab, slash, strangle, and drown them. Watts told a psychiatrist that they had evil eyes, and it wasn't enough to murder these women, he had to kill their spirits too, by burning personal items or tossing them in a sewer. His first victim was 19-year-old Gloria Steele, a mother and college student who was stabbed 33 times in her apartment. Michigan authorities knew he was responsible for dozens of murders, but they never had enough evidence to convict him. In 1982, Watts fled to Texas and resumed his murders, killing at least 12 more, including the youngest victim, 14-year-old Emily Lacroix. Now let's get to the moment he was finally caught. On May 23, 1982, Carl Watts choked Lori Lister until she was unconscious, and dragged her up the apartment steps. He used her keys to open the door and came face to face with Lori's roommate, Melinda Aguilar. Melinda was choked by Carl Watts as well, but this time she pretended to black out. He bound her hands behind her back and put her in a separate bedroom, while he filled up a bathtub where he planned to drown Lori Lister. With her hands still bound behind her back, Melinda quietly locked the bedroom door and proceeded to jump off a second-story balcony, where she yelled at a woman who was drinking coffee outside to call police. Unfortunately, Texas prosecutors offered immunity to Watts for the 13 murders he confessed to, in exchange for a 60-year sentence. Oddly enough, he was almost released from prison in 2006, but Michigan authorities were able to convict him of 2 murders before that could happen, and he died in prison in 2007 from prostate cancer.
Creepy facts that'll give you nightmares. When
justice.
anglerfish mate, the male literally fuses itself into the female and the two live together as one fish for the rest of their lives. I'm kinda concerned as to how we know this, but if you feed a human body to pigs, they eat every last bit of it. There's a place near Mexico City called the Island of the Dolls. This place is home to thousands of dolls that are there to honor a girl who drowned in the 1950s. Many people say that this place is one of the most haunted places on Earth. And finally, this is Mike the Chicken. After Mike's head got chopped off, he somehow...
An Oklahoma man who impregnated a 12-year-old girl when he was 24 is heading to prison for the next 2 decades. Juan Miranda Jara, now 25, entered a gift of a minor under 14. Miranda Jara showed up on July 14, 2021 at Hillcrest Hospital in Midtown Tulsa with a 12-year-old girl in mid-labor expecting to become a proud new father, but he ended up under arrest. They walked in just like any other couple would, excited to deliver their newborn child, said police. When officers arrived, Miranda Jara proudly said he was the father of the child the 12-year-old was about to give birth to, and acted unsure as to why police were even getting involved. Officers believe Miranda Jara was fully expecting to go home with his child girlfriend and newborn baby. However, the age of consent in Oklahoma is 16. Juan Miranda Jara stated that he was in a relationship with the 12-year-old victim that started in October of 2020. Miranda Jara admitted that he is the biological father of the 12-year-old's baby. Many in the community began to ask where the victim's parents were, and 2 weeks later the Tulsa Police Department arrested the girl's mother. Authorities have said that Desiree Castaneda and other family members knew all about her daughter's relationship and pregnancy. Investigators say Castaneda was aware of her child's interaction with 24-year-old Juan Miranda Jara and approved of their relationship. TPD also says there are photos of the family throwing a baby shower for the victim and the suspect. Castaneda is awaiting trial on charges for child neglect and enabling child sex abuse.
In this 2004 murder case, Centoya Brown never knew her biological dad, and her mum drank throughout her pregnancy. Her mum also used other substances and eventually put Centoya up for adoption. Centoya began getting in trouble with the law, and she was kept under the custody of the Department of Children's Services. She ended up leaving and being classed as a runaway in 2004. Whilst having nowhere to live, she was trafficked by a man called Cutthroat. At this point, she was only 15 years old. He would threaten and beat her to maintain control over her. When Centoya was 16, she met a man named Johnny Allen at a Sonic car park. He was 43 and asked her if she was up for any action. She agreed to this for $150, and the pair went back to Johnny's house. Now, Johnny's friends and family deny that he was actually trying to meet up with her for personal gain. They said that he was just concerned about her. A minor who worked at a local restaurant also claimed that Johnny Allen would chat up underage girls and make them feel very uncomfortable. Centoya claims that the pair never ended up having a sexual encounter. However, at some point at Johnny's house, we do know that Centoya ended up shooting him in the head. She stole $172 and 2 firearms and escaped in his truck. She then abandoned the truck and went back to Cutthroat to give him the money and the firearms. Police discovered the pair at a local hotel. She was arrested and charged with homicide, aggravated robbery, handgun possession, and criminal impersonation. So why did Kim Kardashian get involved with this case? Why does she want to help Centoya? I really hate to be this person, but frustratingly, TikTok has taken away my 10-minute feature, so I can't do long videos on here. I have just posted this full video on my YouTube, so please do go over there and check it out if you're interested.
I wonder if she ever free. Did Kim K get her out? Because you know she's on her lawyer journey now, so I remember seeing that case popping up a couple of times. I'm gonna have to go down the rabbit hole on that one. That was an insane case.
Me and my daughters were killed by the person who we thought is our biggest protector, my husband and their dad, Chris Watts. My name is Sean N. Watts. In 2012, we got married and together we built a life that I thought was picture perfect. I embraced my role as a mother to our two precious daughters, Bella and Celeste. I was also expecting my third child. But in August 2018, everything came crashing down. Me and my two daughters were reported missing by my close friend. The police were called, and the frantic search for us began. The hours turned into days, and the truth slowly unraveled. It was revealed that Chris was involved in our disappearance. I was strangled to death and buried, and my daughters were dumped into the crude oil tanks. He did this just because he wanted to leave us to be with his girlfriend. Though my life was cut short, I hope that my story inspires others to stand against violence and to honor the memory of those whose lives have been unjustly taken.
Like Chris Watts' case. To this day, I
This is
still
the
don't
UK's
understand it.
most famous missing boy. In September 2007, Andrew Gosden was just 14 years old. He was a very intelligent boy and was top of his class in most classes at school. He was an introvert that usually spent most of his time at home. The day before Andrew went missing seemed completely normal. He went to school, he had some tea, and then he watched some TV. However, on September the 14th, he seemed more irritable than normal. Instead of getting the bus to school that morning like his parents thought he was, he went to a cash point and withdrew £200. CCTV then captures him walking home, where he changed his clothes into a Slipknot t-shirt. When he left the house, he didn't take his charger with him, and he also didn't take £100 that he'd saved up. He didn't take his passport, but he did take his house key, which indicates he was going to come home. He bought a one-way ticket to London and was last seen leaving King's Cross station at about 11:30. Frustratingly, the school had actually tried to contact Andrew's parents to say that he hadn't turned up to school that day, but they dialed the wrong number and left an answer phone message on the wrong phone. His family was completely cleared of any suspicion, and the family and the school and all of the students went to London and they were handing out loads of flyers. Weirdly, a year after this incident, a man came to a police station to say that he had information about Andrew. Now, the police station was unmanned, so the person spoke to this man just over an intercom system and sent a police officer down there. Mysteriously, by the time the police officer arrived, the person had vanished. This is what Andrew might look like now, just being the age that he may be if he's still alive. Theories about this case is that he may have gone to London to meet up with someone or go to a concert. Was he lured there by somebody with bad intentions, or was he just going there for the day, gonna come back, and was at the wrong place at the wrong time and somebody did something bad to him? In 2009, the family paid for a search of the River Thames to try and find some sort of closure. The search did find a body, but it wasn't Andrew's. The most up-to-date information that we have on this case is that 2 men were arrested on suspicion of kidnapping Andrew, but they've actually been released.
That's one of my biggest fears, man. One day you could just disappear off the face of the earth. You're going somewhere, and something completely different just changes your path. You gotta be careful, Seekers.
I'm not trying to alarm anyone, but I think everyone living in Oregon should be aware of what's about to happen. This is Richard Gilmore, also known as the Serial. He's been in prison since 1987 after being found guilty of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl. But he admitted to sexually assaulting 9 other girls and women. Unfortunately, he wasn't tried for the other attacks because they fell just outside the statute of limitations. He got his nickname because he would case out his victims' homes in Portland, Oregon in the 70s and 80s while jogging, and he would return later to attack. Well, after having his sentence cut in half just 1 year after being convicted, Richard is about to be released from prison on December 16th of this year. He will be released into transitional housing in Multnomah County, but the most disgusting part is that once released, he will only be classified as a level 1 sex offender, which is considered at the lowest risk of reoffending. This is shocking to me because the last psychological evaluation that was done on him was done in 2016, and that evaluation deemed him dangerous to society stemming from a mental or emotional disorder predisposing him to crime. Once released from prison, he will be on supervision until 2034. But even though he'll have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life, because he is classified as a level 1 offender, the state and county is not required to notify any of his neighbors that he is a sex offender. This is so scary as a parent that someone with this violent of a history could possibly move in next door with absolutely no warning. His victims are outraged that he isn't being classified as a higher level offender, especially considering that at the time of his trial, he was labeled a very dangerous offender. What's even scarier is that right now it's being reported that Richard could be required to have no contact with his victims. Could be? I'm sorry, but that is absolutely just not enough. I can't even imagine how they must be feeling right now. So if you live in Oregon, please be aware that this man will be released on December 16th, and please stay safe.
Gotta be aware, man. I told you, the justice system, it goes up and down.
This is the case that taught me that some fates are worse than death. Blanche Monnier was born in France on March 1st, 1849, into a very bourgeoisie family. She grew into a socialite and was sought after by many, many suitors as she was very well known for her stunning good looks. When she was 25 years old, she fell in love with an older lawyer, but her mother refused to let her marry a penniless lawyer and did everything in her power to end the relationship. Blanche could not be swayed despite her mother's best efforts, and one day the beautiful young girl simply vanished. Her mother and brother publicly mourned her loss and told everyone they thought she'd just run away. And then one day in 1901, 25 years after she disappeared, the Attorney General of Paris received an anonymous note. The note read, quote, "Monsieur Attorney General, I have the honor to inform you of an exceptionally serious occurrence. I speak of a spinster who is locked up in Madame Monnier's house, half-starved and living on putrid litter for the past 25 years, in a word, in her own filth." Luckily, the police took the note seriously, went to the home to investigate, and initially Blanche's mother wouldn't let them in the home, but they forced their way through and into the house. On the second floor of the home, they found a, quote, "tiny, dark, foul-smelling room," and when they pried open the windows, they were horrified by what they saw. Blanche was on a bed in the room, covered in her own filth, quote, "a gaunt creature with abundant black hair hiding her body." Blanche had shrunk to just over 50 pounds and was, quote, "covered in food and her own filth, with bugs all around the bed and the floor." She had been locked in that room for 25 years without sunlight or human interaction, was clearly underfed, and barely looked human. Quote, "Blanche seemed like a scared animal when the officers took her out of there." One officer said, quote, "The unfortunate woman was lying without clothes on a rotten straw mattress. All around her was formed a sort of crust made from her own filth, fragments of meat, vegetables, fish, and rotten bread. We also saw oyster shells and bugs running across Mademoiselle Monnier's bed. The air was so unbreathable, the odor given off by the room was so rank that it was impossible for us to stay any longer to proceed with our investigation." The New York Times reported, quote, "Time passed and Blanche was no longer young. The attorney she so loved died in 1885. During all that time, the girl was confined to the lonely room, fed with scraps from her mother's table when she received any food at all. Not a ray of light penetrated her dungeon, and what she suffered can only be surmised." Blanche's brother was sentenced to 15 months for his role in the crime, but was later released because he never physically restricted her movements in any way. Blanche's mother was arrested but passed away in prison just 15 days later. Blanche was too far gone to return to society, so she was committed to a mental hospital where she passed away just 12 years later.
25 years without no solid sunlight? Because she didn't let her daughter marry who she wanted to. Society back in the day, that they was tripping, bro.
Imagine being buried under a kitchen floor. This is the horrific true crime of Andrew Innes, requested by a follower. Back in 2020, Benny Lynn Burke, the 25-year-old Filipino mother, was sat at home, like many of us, during the lockdown in the UK. Her home was far from where she was raised. It was in Bristol in England. After heading to the UK a couple of years earlier from the Philippines back in 2019, Benny Lynn Burke was expecting a happy and new adventure with her husband Lexington. They met in her homeland, fell in love, got married before making the big decision to leave her homeland and return to the UK with Lexington, a decision that would later leave her viciously mutilated. Her and her husband would have a beautiful little girl together, which they would name Jellica. Unfortunately, family life wasn't meant to be for the three of them, as it's claimed that Lexington became more aggressive since returning back to the UK, a different character to the one Benny Lynn had met. The couple would decide to end their relationship mutually. Benny Lynn was now stuck in a foreign land to her, in Bristol, during a pandemic. The only little light she had was the little Jellica. She decided to try and meet someone new and joined a dating site called Filipinian Cupid. Initially looking to perhaps find another Filipinian to date, but instead she found a much older Scottish man named Andrew Innes. Andrew had smarts for sure. He had been at Aberdeen University. He was a computer gaming engineer. At 52 years old, however, he was over double Benny Lynn's age and had some baggage too. Allegedly had previously been married to a Japanese woman over in Japan where he had children with her too, before breaking up and then being deported back to the UK. A similar story to Benny Lynn's in a sense. At first, Benny Lynn was a bit put off by this, but over time she started to think on it. Probably with the loneliness in her life as well, she decided to give love another chance. Big mistake. They'd strike up a relationship online at first, and apparently Andrew had even offered a £1,000 a month job to Benny Lynn. She didn't want to leave Bristol where she had settled, but Andrew wanted her and Jellica in Dundee, Scotland with him. A whopping 440 miles separated the pair. 18th of February 2021, the couple would decide to meet and Benny Lynn would get a chance to see the sights of Dundee. Little 2-year-old Jellica would come along too. A couple of weeks later there had been no sign of Benny Lynn Burke and her daughter Jellica. Benny Lynn's sister had tried to contact her and at first was greeted with text message replies, but then started to get responses from Andrew instead. It's said that she demanded a video with Benny Lynn and instead all she received was an old one. Andrew Innes had palmed this off. He claimed that she had gone off with another man near Glasgow and he hadn't seen her since. Lexington, Benny Lynn's ex, had also tried to contact her for his custody visit of Jellica with 2 text messages and a missed call. There's talks that Andrew had claimed that Lexington was trying to take Jellica from Benny Lynn, so Benny Lynn had shut off her phone and fled. So this couldn't happen. It was all sounding very suspicious and Shella, the sister, was extremely and rightfully worried. The police were soon in action. They had a missing 25-year-old and 2-year-old. At first they tried to gain access to Andrew's residence but he refused. March the 5th, 2 weeks after Benny Lynn and Jellica had gone with Andrew, they managed to track Andrew Innes' vehicle doing that long distance to and from Bristol. That same vehicle was sat on his Troon Avenue driveway. With this evidence now pointing directly at Andrew, they decided to proceed and question him. Notably, there was a 7-year-old young girl sat on the sofa in the living room watching cartoons. Andrew Innes stated that this was his daughter. Under intense interrogation, Andrew Innes told detectives that same story, that Benny Lynn had gone off to be with another man. Mounting pressure onto Innes, the police would keep poking holes into the 52-year-old's story. During this time he had claimed that they had broken off the relationship when he had looked at her phone and seen that she was seeing other men, before he would admit to killing Benny Lynn Burke and say, "She's under the kitchen floor." The police would unfortunately find out that the 7-year-old girl in his house was in fact not his daughter, but in fact would be another victim of this depraved murderer. With her testimony, this is what happened.
And all I didn't seen these clips, man, you gotta be especially careful, bro, because you never know who you getting, who you meeting meeting up with, bro. You never know their intentions. Online is not real. You can make a fake facade and real life be a completely different person, seekers. If you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker, seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video. Comment down below. Hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload my next videos. You guys are going to catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.